Hey everybody, look, we're gonna try this as take two here, and so apparently I am not a smart man today, and that's why we're now a half hour late from those of you who were waiting for us to start at 4 o'clock. We actually started at 4 o'clock, and we actually had a whole conversation, and it was awesome. And what had happened was I broadcast this only to my personal Facebook page and nowhere else. And now we should be live everywhere else that we're supposed to be, and not where we're not. I have Jeff with us today again, which is awesome. I dig it when Jeff is here because then it's not just me rambling and like I am right now. Jeff, what's up, buddy?
Hey, man.
Hey, look, there's actually people watching. I wonder, I was wondering, hey, it's kind of low visibility here, and so now there's actually people popping on. So hey, everybody, sorry for being late. Totally my fault. I apologize for that. It was my lack of hitting buttons, but you'll be happy to know that we just had a great practice session of this episode.
Yes, we
And
did.
yeah, so I'm going to jump into the fuel surcharge report here real quick, just because nobody saw it on my other one. So I'm going to jump in here, throw this up. The fuel surcharge report is we went up 2 cents this week on the national average, which is a pretty big jump. We're up to 3.406. The West Coast Pad 5 went up minimally 0.006 to 4.032. We're still over $4, which is significant for us. That's 4 weeks in a row now. I think we're over $4 on the West Coast. With the big jump between the national average and the West Coast Pad 5. So, how they tabulate the West Coast fuel surcharge, for anyone who doesn't know, they take the West Coast average, subtract the national average, and that disparity, which is somewhere around 62 cents right now, is where we get that second fuel surcharge. So it's actually just barely 10 cents because that disparity shrunk this week. It's just barely 10 cents. It's on the verge of going back down to 9 cents, but nonetheless, it's still 10 cents this week. The fuel surcharge for us on the regular stuff is 0.346. So we went up there a few points, and that's awesome. So I'm going to get rid of that real quick. And we're going to jump right into oh yeah, I should mention Jeff and I just were in a meeting with David Tillman a few minutes ago. Well, an hour ago. We were talking about some stuff going on and trying to hash out some time with him. We're going to be getting him. I believe next week we're going to have David Tillman online with us. We're going to be talking about some safety stuff and compliance stuff because I think it's important to us as contractors, owner operators, and runners of our own businesses, and that sort of thing. But yeah, so keep your eyes open for that, and there's some stuff coming down. I think that we'll be able to get into when once we get David Tillman on board, and there's some, yeah, I think that'll be cool. But what we do have this week is Jeff is still at a hotel,
Yeah, you
same
can tell from the
hotel,
background. It's not my sleeper right now.
right?
It's the same background I had a week ago today. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
still in the freaking shot. But
But
we
there's
have
progress.
some info for you. Um, as a lot of you guys probably already know, I took my entire one box off and had everything cleaned. So Charlie and I were both interested in some of the pictures that Aaron at DPF Alternatives sent me. So this is what an actual one box looks like. That's the beast. That's the if you buy one from Freightliner, it's $18,000. This piece of equipment, and that is your entire after treatment system all in one box, which is why they call it a one box. This is proprietary to Freightliner. You're not going to see one of these on the Kenworths. From what I've learned recently, it's a better system when it works. So that's it's one of those things. Freightliner did a great job engineering the thing, but when it needs service, it's much more difficult to repair than the emission system on any of the other trucks. So that's the caveat on that. So what I did was I had them take the whole one box off, and I sent it out to DPF Alternatives in Macon, Georgia, to have everything cleaned. So this thing it ended up costing me a total of $2,300 out the door from them. We'll get into the other stuff here in a minute. But the actual cleaning, uh, some of the ancillaries, they had to replace some of the straps, things like that hold the thing together because it's, got 750,000 miles on it and things were rusted together. Um, so uh, the actual, like, if there was nothing wrong and no taxes, it'd be $1,800 for the service I had done. Yeah, you can also just have the DPF filters cleaned. That runs about 800. But I wanted to do the whole thing because I'm scared of how much that one box costs, and I wanted them to go through it and make sure that it was still good to go.
Come on,
So
man, only
here's
15 grand for a one box. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I know. So this is what a DPF filter looks like when it's dirty. Notice all that carbon buildup and all that neat stuff in there. Um, so when they take it off, the first thing they do is they do a flow through test of the filters, and the numbers don't make a whole lot of sense to me because I'm not an engineer, but they do give you an idea of what's what. It's kind of like, when you want to do a charge air cooler test. Do those numbers really mean anything? Not really. I mean, the number for a CAC should be 0. That's the only thing you really need to know on that. So,
Right.
but on these, so the factory specs, and they give you a sheet that tells you everything from their test. The factory spec for our DPF from Detroit Diesel is between 2.7 and 3.2 flow through. Again, I can't articulate what that really means other than it's a number that we can start with. So when they did my initial flow through test, that filter came in at a 5.6. And Detroit Diesel considers a 3.3 red line, take the dang thing off, get it cleaned, replace it, whatever, get it off the truck. So obviously I waited too long to do this time. So they do the flow through test and then they start cleaning. And on the DPFs, what they do is they hit it with a sonic wave, if you will. They figured out, the guy that invented this process figured out what sound frequency causes all the deposits to just kind of flake off, instead of putting it through a kiln and then banging on it with a stick like the other process does. They actually, use the science this time. This is halfway through the cleaning process. Now, with each time they put it through the cleaning process, they do another flow through test, and the idea is they want to get it back to factory spec before they put it back on the truck. So this is basically halfway through the process. And then this is what a clean one looks like. And Charlie was commenting about how wow, it's actually like clean.
Right. Yeah, I was baffled by it because I mean, I look, I did not anticipate what started out from this mess here to turn into this. Like I hadn't even noticed the tiny little holes in that screen. I mean, of course, it had to flow through somehow, but being that I don't have a DPF, I know nothing about a DPF other than it's a hassle. But I did not expect this to be the final outcome. This
Right,
blew me away.
right. So that's a clean DPF. Now now you've seen it, because
That is just baffling to me.
this is something that most of us non-mechanics have never seen. So I thought it was really interesting. Usually you turn your truck in, you go to the hotel or home or whatever, and they do their thing, right? And you trust them to do the right thing, which sometimes works.
Right. Right, right,
Um, so in addition to this, though, so that's just the DPF, right?
right.
That's what guys are mostly concerned about, is that DPF. But they actually go through the entire one box and they start cleaning, and they get everything, all the little valves and this and that inside that SCR system all cleaned out, all that stuff. So it's a full service of the one box for that $1,800. So of course, if you have other stuff that they find wrong, it's like any other mechanical part. If they find things, they'll call you, and and tell you what's what. There's something that cost me, $100 right there is the new straps that hold everything together. Which, I mean, again, a lot of this stuff is okay. Well, the old straps are broken. What else? What am I going to do? Not put them on
Right.
there? It just costs what it costs.
Gorilla tape, man. 3 wraps, you'll be fine.
That's right. You know. So they do a really deep clean of everything. Um, when they got done with my stuff, I had a flow through rating of 2.6, which is actually zero point 0.1 better than factory spec. So basically, I have never replaced the DPFs on this truck. I just have them cleaned. And now that I found this new process, they got it back to factory spec. I mean, it's like they're brand new out of the factory, according to the guy.
Right.
Now, of course, I just had this done and it's the first time. So we're going to spend the next few months, maybe a year, analyzing the cost of this and whether or not it truly was worth it.
And then
So,
there's the added cost. Let's come on.
well,
The
the one
additive.
Sean Conyers wants to know how long is the one box line to last? Well, you got to be careful about questions like that because with this process, it should last forever.
Right.
But we've had
They
guys
guarantee
have
it for
to,
life.
they guarantee it for life if you do the other thing that we're going to talk about here in a second that you guys aren't going to like. I didn't like it, but we'll see if it pays off. Um, so, but we've had guys have to replace these things at under 500,000 miles, and even though that's still under warranty on most trucks, what a pain, right? If this works the way I think it does, and we're actually maintaining the system, it should
Right.
last until you want to get rid of the truck.
Right. And we've had those guys recently that were, in the Facebook groups and stuff like that had to do one boxes that were not covered under warranty.
Yeah, they
And
had
it
like
was
501,000 miles on their truck, so
right.
they
And
were
it
they
was
were hosed.
$15,000. 15,000. Look, my engine rebuild cost me $17,000. This one box system and it's parts that go along with it, $15,000 to replace and install all that crap. So,
Yes.
this really may be a game changer here.
Hmm. I'm hoping so. So to get that lifetime guarantee, though, you are required to use the max mileage fuel additive, which Charlie and I are both of the camp. I've never once put a fuel additive in any of my trucks. Charlie puts one in a couple times a year to clean his injectors, and he's almost convinced me to do that too. But by and large, and I was telling Aaron, the owner of the shop, I said that's going to be the hard sell to our group because a lot of these additives are just shy of snake oil. They
Right.
they cost money and they don't really do anything. So how he sold it to me, which was great salesmanship by the way, was look, if it didn't do what we're saying, we would not be attaching the lifetime guarantee on our work.
Right.
Bottom line, because what it actually does is it causes the diesel to burn a little bit cleaner. I don't know how much cleaner. Again, not a chemist. But what it's supposed to do is keep the carbon level down from the burn in the combustion chamber so that it doesn't clog up your emission systems. And we're talking about stuff upstream from the one box as well. So, the EGR valve shouldn't be getting clogged if you're using this stuff.
Right.
Um, all the way to your weed burner, because those of us with the new trucks, Charlie, we have weed burners, not stacks. So
Whatever.
we're cooler. Got a
That's
tailpipe.
okay. That's all right. But yeah,
So
you
this
go
stuff
for it.
though, it's spendy. It's 298 a gallon. That's in $298 a gallon. But
Yeah.
it also treats one ounce of it treats 25 gallons of fuel. So if you got a Freightliner like mine has two 100-gallon tanks. So I've got 200 gallons of fuel on board when I'm full. It's 8 ounces to treat all that fuel. And Charlie and I ran some numbers, and 1 gallon should last my operation on the old fuel mileage, mind you, because remember, Charlie, we were using my old fuel mileage
Right.
numbers
Yeah.
before I got all the repairs done. So at that 6.5 that I was getting because I needed all this stuff done, we were estimating it at around 5 weeks for a gallon. Now, if I get it back up to where it was over 8, then obviously it'll last longer,
Right.
which is what I'm really hoping all this does for me is get that fuel mileage back up to what I'm used to.
Right. Because you had a huge drop over
Over the
recent
last six
months.
months, I
Right.
went from a 90-day average of 8.1 all the way down to 6.2 in the last
Oh,
6 months.
God, and
And now that I've seen that filter, and what kind of back pressure that's got to be causing,
right. That just
you
makes my
know.
head hurt because I look at our operation, Rosie and I, and and I look at a 1 mile per gallon or 1.5 mile per gallon as about $10,000 to $15,000 lost or
Hmm.
gain, depending on which way you're swinging that 1 to 1.5 miles per gallon, and you're
Right.
you're you're looking at, God, 2 miles per gallon over the last 6 months, and it hurts my feelings.
Well, the how I've survived this is I've been working up a like it the whole time.
Right.
So I'm paying 50 cents a gallon less for fuel than I
Right,
would
and
be
it's not
otherwise.
quite so drastic that way. And that is one of the odd things about the driving slower, which has been a huge discussion recently. I've got a lot of people who are flinging me static over driving 55, telling me how unsafe I am and how I'm gonna get killed out there and I'm gonna cause a wreck and things like that. And argue it all you want. I'm As long as I'm operating within the legal limits of the highway I'm on, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. I've actually noticed that people actually fly up on my tail end less when I'm doing 55 versus when I'm doing 60 or 65 in a 70 zone. They seem to see me further out and notice the rate of closure a little more, and they've actually moved over sooner.
Hmm.
And I've had like one guy all week because I've been doing this 55 thing all week. And I had one guy all week, wave his arms around and, throw up the magic salute and all that sort of thing. But that's it. Like, I haven't had any near death experiences. I haven't built up traffic behind me. People move over, drive by, and they go by so quick that, you know what I mean, that they're back in their lane and they didn't even notice I was there. Uh, I've had police DOT bears on my back bumper for several miles because they were, waiting for the next off ramp or whatever it was. And I thought, well, maybe this is what everybody's telling me about. They're going to pull me over for impeding traffic or something like that, right? Even though the Georgia speed limit laws says a minimum 40 on I-75 for the stretch that I run and the maximum of 70. Maximum allowable speed is 70. The minimum speed is 40. I was doing 55. I was dead center of that speed range. The DOT there simply got off. I looked over, gave a little wave, and he gave a little nod and kept on going about his day. Any of you who drive Georgia on 75 know from Atlanta down to the state line, there's about 4 billion sheriffs and local police and DOT cops that sit there with their radar guns out, just tagging people left and right for speed. Yet nobody bothered me for driving slow. Just saying. And it
Well,
increased my fuel mileage.
people don't understand. I don't know if that's that they don't understand. That might be the wrong word, but the minimum speed on most interstates is 45.
Right.
Um, look it up all you want. It's 45. So that speed limit is a limit. It's that upper end. That's how fast you can legally run. So anywhere between 45 and, let's say, Utah 80
Right.
is legal. So don't give me that impeding traffic thing.
Yeah. When you get into Florida, it does jump up. The minimum speed is 50 on 75 going down that way. Like I said, Georgia's 40, Florida's 50. The average on a lot of places around the country, from what I've seen, is about 45. So,
Yeah, I think when you get out there in the Tules, like in Montana, I think they have it at 55. But that's
right.
wide open. There's no towns for 50 miles. So,
Right. Right.
um, Ken Kelly, what's the big deal about 55? Most of my miles are in California. It's 55 anyway. It doesn't bother me at all.
See, that's what I'm talking about. But you know what? So here's the funny thing about that, Ken, is, because I'm running in states where it's 70 and that sort of thing, people are telling me that I'm a hazard, that I'm gonna die, that, some guy's gonna not notice me and drive into the back of me. And you know what? Well, okay, if someone drives into the back of me because they're distracted, then they're distracted. And it wasn't has nothing to do with the speed I was doing. If they were that distracted, they run into me at 55, they're gonna run into me at 65. I'm going to be moving faster. It's gonna be harder for me to control my vehicle should that happen. And you know what I mean? They did it no matter what. So I just don't buy the argument that I'm a hazard or things like that. It just I'm sorry, guys. You can keep arguing all you want. That's fine. You have your opinion. I have mine. Like I said, no near death this week, no accidents, no tickets, and a visible increase in fuel mileage over. You can
Yeah,
look
it
at my
was.
lifetime.
Wasn't it such a big increase that it actually affected your 90 day?
It affected my lifetime.
Hmm.
Oh, I found out.
Something to think about, guys.
I mean, it affected my lifetime average because my lifetime average up until few months ago was a 7.02, 7.03, right? And my 90 day was like 7.03. My 60 was like 7.10 or somewhere around there. I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head. And my 30 day was at like 7.2.
Hmm.
And it changed my 30 day by almost half a mile. No, it changed my 30 day by 0.06. It jumped up my 60 day by like 0.03 or something like that, and like a 0.04 on my 90. But the significant to me actually was the lifetime average, which, like I said, was 7.02, 7.03, and my now lifetime is 7.06. Hey Ken, thanks for popping in, buddy. Tight load, I got you, man. Have a safe one, man. Shiny side up, brother. But yeah, so you know what? I did it again, Jeff. I sidetracked you off the DPF stuff. Let's get back to DPF alternatives. I apologize.
Right. So, um, as far as customer service goes with these guys, I gotta tell you, Aaron and his wife Dawn, they run the business together, and I couldn't have asked for better customer service from them. They were awesome. Where that's in Macon, Georgia, by the way, and there's these guys have franchises all over the country, so you shouldn't have a problem finding one on their website. Where the bottleneck is at the dealership, because DPF Alternatives is not a mechanic shop. All they do is do the cleaning and refurbishing of the emission systems. So you have to have it taken off at a shop. And unfortunately for me, the only shop that could get me in at all for this was Freightliner,
Mm,
Middle Georgia Freightliner in Macon, Georgia. And boy, what a it,
right.
it I gave them the truck a week ago yesterday. They didn't even get it in and get the one box off the truck until Thursday, which would have been great if they would have just told me that instead of how the dealerships kind of string you along. I mean, like you're going to take your truck away from them. I mean,
Right.
I need the thing done. It's in pieces right now, so like I'm just going to come get it, right? So it took them that long to get it off. Aaron got me my stuff. He got it picked up from the dealership Thursday afternoon and had all of his stuff done by the next morning.
Yeah, see, that's
So,
amazing to me how quick that process goes, really, for that portion of it.
right,
You would think that that would be where the real time went.
right.
Yeah.
So he gave it back to them on Friday, and I just got the phone call while we were setting up for this live event that my truck is finally ready. The last thing, by the way, it wasn't just the one box that I was having them do. I had to test my batteries. I ended up needing 4 new batteries, and of course, instead of doing the battery check last Monday before they took everything apart, they did it
Right.
yesterday and ordered batteries for me instead of workflow. Anyway,
Makes sense. Yeah.
so the bottleneck is the mechanic that's going to take the unit off your truck and put it back on.
Hopefully, there's some of
Um,
these places that have their own guys, hopefully in-house, and if not, maybe that's something some of them should look into as part of their so that they can
right,
do everything in-house. I mean, because that turnaround is would be great in-house. It's a drag having to wait on Freightliner.
right. So yeah, Aaron and Don, awesome customer service. I mean, like they were calling me 3 times a day to give me updates. You know that they were trying to get Freightliner to hurry up, and so sorry, all that stuff. But it really wasn't in their hands until they got the parts. So, but they did a great job, those guys. I really enjoyed talking to them, and Aaron is passionate about what he does. I mean, all this stuff, the numbers that I gave you at the beginning, he actually knows what they mean, man. And he will
Right,
sit there, he will like when they brought me my invoice to the hotel I'm in, they actually came to the they actually came to the hotel to give me my invoice
I thought that was awesome.
and all that stuff. You know, and their big concern was, well, do you want us to drop by before or after we drop the one box at Freightliner? Do you want to look at it and make sure everything's
Right.
kosher? And I'm like, no, not really. I'm not a
See,
mechanic.
and that's how customer service should be, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And all the pictures that we have, just so you know, all those pictures that we have that we showed you guys all came from him. Like, him and his wife took all those pictures throughout the process, kept updating Jeff saying, "Hey, this is where we're at. This is what we're doing. Just want you to, know what's going on." You're like,
yeah,
"Holy crap. When's the
but
last
you
time
know,
you got service like that at a Freightliner? Come on."
yeah, never. Yeah, the part I understand that part of the problem going on right now is the whole labor shortage, which you guys have probably been reading about in the news. Um, the shop, the two shops that he normally uses, just they couldn't get anybody in for 2 weeks. That's just the
Right,
way it was. And he's been trying his darndest to build a relationship with Freightliner because, especially dealing with one box system,
right.
it's a lot better to have a Freightliner certified tech do that because if anything on that box breaks, you got an $18,000 bill.
Right, and small
So,
shop's not gonna wanna deal with that. Freightliner's gonna be like, "Oh,
right,
our bad. We gotta eat it on this one."
right. So as it stands right now, great customer service from the DPF guys, and Freightliner is just Freightliner. Um,
Right,
I mean, I've been in the game long enough to where, with the exception of two shops that I have an actual relationship with, one in Portland, Oregon, and one in West Valley City, Utah, those two shops will usually get me in and out pretty well, um, and update me regularly. But I have a relationship with those guys.
right.
When I'm out in the wild, you know, I'm 1,800 miles away from home. I don't know these guys. They don't know me. They're
Right.
thinking I'm never going to see this guy again anyway. So we're going to take
Yeah.
care of our regulars first. I get it,
Yep.
but it's not. It's no less frustrating.
Right.
Yeah.
And just so you guys know, the website is here on the screen. For anyone watching this in replay, I'll end up putting it down in the description on the, YouTube channel. Facebook guys, if, you want more of this information, it will be on the YouTube channel in the description after we wrap this up and I go back and update all that stuff. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I just wanted to throw it out there. And this has been kind of a cool deal because with Jeff going through this process, um it's really been it's been an eye opener for me because one, I don't have this system in my truck. I just have an EGR, and that's its own set of problems. Then you add in DPF, and then you add in the DEF system, and it's just I don't know how you guys do it, and I'm gonna stick to why I think you guys should be looking at older trucks. Anyone out there who might be watching this, I'm just gonna throw this out there. Anyone who might be watching this that has an older truck that is not leased to Swift and thinks that, oh, I can't bring my older truck to Swift because they won't let me bring it in. Uh, I'm gonna tell you that don't let that be a deciding factor. As long as it is ELD compliant type of truck, it's got a ECM. So basically everything after 2000 ish, right? Should be ELD compliant. If you've got a truck that meets that requirement and you have a sound running truck and it's not a complete beast to look at, I'm here to tell you that if it will pass a DOT inspection, you bring that DOT inspection to Swift and send them some pictures to show them that your truck's not a complete jalopy. Uh, that that 5-year thing that people have been saying all this time is not necessarily the reality. It is a case by case basis, but I was working with a gentleman this week, uh, fellow by the name of Eric, and he was actually looking to lease a brand new truck because he was fallen victim to that 5-year magic number. And I said, no, 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 you own a truck. You own a 2005 truck, man. Let's get that in here. And I made some calls, did some verifications. And now my understanding is that he may be coming over here pretty quick. And, look, that guy just saved 26,000 by not having a new truck payment and none of those other emission issues. So I'm just saying, if anyone's watching that doesn't want to come to Swift because they don't want a brand new truck and they already own a truck, and I know there's been weird things about that, check it out. Give someone a call. Call Michelle Cantrell at Greer. I can throw a number up for her later on in the description stuff, like I said, on the YouTube channel. But yeah, so don't let that stuff throw you off. Anyhow, back to you, Jeff. DPF. You like that?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where we were going before that. I apologize for that.
Well, I'm just, again, we don't know yet if this $2,300 is worth it,
Right.
and we won't know until months down the
Well,
road.
so I'm
So,
going to say that right now, as you sit right now, I see your 2,300 being worth it because you went from this ridiculously obstructed flow, according to their numbers. They say you need to clean or replace at that 3 point something number. I think it was 3.2 or somewhere
three
around
and
there.
yeah, around 300,000. Oh, the
Then
flow through, yeah,
right, the flow
3.3.
through the resistance, right, 3.3, and
Well, and
you were up at 5 point something.
here's the thing, Charlie, is that DPF Alternatives is one of the only places that actually does the flow through test.
Right,
When you take it for the bake and shake thing, they don't
right.
do that. They just bake it, shake it, and oh, it looks clean to me, and put it back on.
Put it back on, right.
They don't
So,
do the
I
flow
mean,
through test.
and during following that process that the dealerships were doing when they were doing it, because now they're saying, "Oh, we don't wanna do that, just buy a new one. Replace the
Hmm.
whole unit and be done with it." And for the DPFs, that is. And then they basically said, "Well, if you did it at 350,000 miles, then you need to do it again at 150,000 miles, and then the next time you need to do it at 75,000." It was half-lifing it.
Right.
And then they're like, "Oh, now you need a new one." But with
Hmm.
these guys, with DPF Alternatives, they're saying, you're back to factory 0 flow readings.
Hmm.
And so, I mean, and I think it has to do with, and of course, I'm speculating here, but I think it has to do with the fact that they got it back to that 0 rating, whereas the OEMs were doing, they'll clean it once and, oh, that's it.
Hmm.
And we
Yeah.
saw those pictures where it went from filthy, dirty, oh my God, to, hey, compared to the first one, not so bad, to what the hell just happened? Because now this thing's white and I had no idea it was white.
Right. Exactly.
So, I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that it's probably worth the 2,300 because what's it cost to replace your DPFs?
DPFs run. Uh, the price is all over the place, man.
Okay.
When I the one that I replaced in 2009 in my Kenworth cost me $4,500,
So
and that was in 2009. So whatever they cost now.
you're about half the price of that price then for your
Right.
DPF, and you're back to factory. In fact, it was better than the factory setting as far
Right.
as the limits on the flow through. So half the price
Hmm.
and you don't have to replace the damn thing. And that was
Right.
also getting the one box done. I
Yes.
mean, just for the DPF cleaning, I mean, we're talking about just the DPF cleaning was what was it,
On their
800?
website, it says between 3 and 500. But talking to the guy, he says closer to 800 to have them cleaned.
Okay, so let's
So
call it
I don't
800 just
know.
for the DPF. That's a quarter of the
Hmm.
cost of replacing it, and you got better than factory
So
tolerances.
theoretically, if all you do is have your DPF cleaned by these guys for $800 instead of doing the bake and shake, you can go another 350,000 miles, have them taken off again, have the guy look at them again, make sure there's nothing wrong with them, clean them again, and you got another 350,000 miles.
So provided there's no broken parts internally, the
Right.
ceramics and all that,
Right.
then oh,
And part of the thing is that the reason the bacon shake half-lifes everything is that's a pretty harsh process.
right. It's a
You
violent,
right. Right.
you know.
This is a
Sorry, that was weird.
very, I mean, it's pressurized chemical water that's going into it to clean
Right.
everything, but it's controlled. It's not a, you know, instead of, well, what's a good example, Charlie? Instead, you know, you,
Using a pressure washer to spray off your house and you peel the paint,
right, basically. So,
versus a hose bath and a little brush or something, you know?
you know, well, a good military example. Why use a rocket when you can use a rifle? You
Wait,
know,
isn't the military the other way around? Shouldn't we drop a never mind. My bad. I don't wanna start
we
something.
wish.
But yeah, so to me, the cost, I don't know, man. It seems like a no-brainer. I think that over time, we will find out over the next year, 2 years,
Well,
with the additives to it.
the only reason I say that is because we try to stick to numbers here,
Right,
and Aaron and his wife kind of tag teamed me for the first couple days to really, really sell me on what they do, which I appreciated. But so they did sell me on it big time. I was
right,
interested in it. I wanted to do it just to see. But now that I've experienced their level of service and all that stuff, and I've learned a lot of stuff this last week, I
right.
really do think it's a game changer for those of us with the newer trucks. So always keep in mind, though, we have to put a disclaimer in here, Charlie. If you're leasing through IEL,
Right.
you have to follow their maintenance schedule.
And you know what? Not just look, we've been talking about this a little bit lately. You need to make sure that when you're taking your truck to the shop for your B services and all that sort of thing, that you look at your contract because the B service doesn't necessarily cover everything that you're contractually bound to have serviced at certain intervals, guys. So make sure you're looking at the maintenance schedule in the contract because there are very specific things that have to happen for you to meet that contract. And it's important because if you're on one of these uh, older leases with the standard lease, and you're thinking about using the MRP conversion to take over the buyout on the end of this lease, which is an option for some people. But keep in mind that if you haven't met the maintenance requirements that you were contractually bound by, they're not going to convert your $56,000 balloon into an MRP to make it easy for you to get out of it. And they're just simply not financing those buyouts anymore. And I'm half glad, honestly. I mean, Jeff was one of the last ones to get that financing option. He was in that last batch of people who got it, and great. But I'm a little glad that they have stepped away, only because we need to be taking more responsibility for our businesses and actually running a business and not using Swift as our nursemaid. I
Hmm.
don't know a better way to put that. IEL, Swift, whatever, however you want to call it, whatever. But if you're not meeting that contractual obligation on the maintenance, you need to let the shops know, hey, I need to have this service done, a B service plus X, Y, and Z according to my contract. Because the shop does, I'm going to tell you right now, the shop doesn't know what you're supposed to meet contractually. They have no idea. We've
Hmm.
seen it happen multiple times lately and over the years where the shop's like, well, you didn't tell me you wanted that done, so we didn't do that.
Right.
So keep that in mind when you're getting your B services done and keeping track of your mileage. Dip into your contract, really look at what the maintenance stuff is on that. And hey, by the way, if there's anybody out there paying attention to us right now and you have questions, feel free to throw them up. We will get to those. And otherwise, we're just sitting here rambling, talking about the stuff we're talking about. Say hey, whatever you want to do, we're groovy with that. But yeah, so really pay attention to your contracts, guys. Um, you know, it it'd be a shame to lose your investment and all that equity in a truck over some silly thing like that because you just assumed that the Swift shop or whomever was doing what needs to be done, but they're just not. That's not their job. Their job is to perform the work that you take your truck there to have them perform. If you don't tell them what you need done, they're not going to do it. and
Yeah,
that's the way it's supposed to be.
I was just talking to an owner that is about halfway through his lease the other day, and I said, you know, if I was in the brand new truck lease right now, I would have that schedule. What Charlie's the contract guy. What's the maintenance schedule in the contract? Do you have that on top of your head?
I don't have it in the top of my head. I
We'll
apologize.
get it back out there on the Facebook page then, because think this is important. I would have a copy of that maintenance schedule in my hand every time I went to a Swift shop for a service and say, okay, I've got this many miles on the truck. By contract, I have to do this, this, and this.
Right.
Please do those things. And then check up on them and make sure that the invoice shows that they did them, because that's what IEL's looking at. If you intend on using the MRP program to do your buyout, which is not a bad idea, by the way, I'm totally behind that. Um, that's what they're looking at. It's got to be in the invoices that those things were done. And you know, it's to protect them and you both, because you don't want to take a junk truck and convert it into an MRP, a truck that hasn't had all the maintenance done, and then you're going to go to IEL and say, "Oh, I've got this new warranty for 300,000 miles. I need a new engine, but it was because I didn't change my oil every 50,000 miles like they told me to."
Right, right, and that's the crazy part about it. Well, and there's all those other things that, in that maintenance stuff, and I'm actually trying to look it up now. Um, but if you don't meet that maintenance stuff, you've lost it. You just spent, what is it, 150 grand on a 4-year lease, and if you don't have the 56K to make that balloon, you're SOL. I mean, what are your options? Lease another truck, turn that one in, lease another truck, and start all over again. And that just sounds like a bad plan to me.
Mhm.
I mean, if your model is built that way, hey, knock yourself out. If that's
Yeah, I
what you
mean,
want to
there's
do.
if you just want a brand new truck every 4 years, have at it. Charlie
On
and
my
I won't.
old contract, by the way, it was Schedule E in the contract for the maintenance.
Okay, so I would actually have that printed out, maybe in a folder that's easily accessible, so you don't forget to take it in. And I would literally go and say, okay, guys, I need this, this, and this done.
Yeah, so looking at the old one right now, I'm seeing, there was things that were supposed to be done at 15,000 every 15,000 miles. Then there was things that were supposed to be done every 30,000 miles. Then there were things that need to be done every 90,000 miles, and then it jumps up to everything, things that are supposed to be done every 350,000 miles. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff in here, and with each of those steps up, it also covers the step or steps behind it. So, for the schedule one, it was, every 15,000 miles, certain things had to be done. At 30,000 for schedule two, everything in schedule two has to be done as well as everything in schedule one. So it as you get deeper into it, everything has to be done. And if you're not meeting that or exceeding it even, you're just going to be SOL. And God, nobody wants that kind of mess.
Yeah,
I
and
can
if you've
actually show
been,
you what my schedule looks like here.
yeah, and if you were a company driver for any amount of time, you know, you got your A and B services, and all they do in the A service really is check your truck for damage, maybe lube a couple of zerts, and send you on your way.
Right.
And then the B service, yeah, they'll change the oil and sometimes the fuel filter. You know,
Right.
so that's what they're used to doing. You know, because they're when they're maintaining the Swift, their company equipment, they're looking at the cost of the work and how beneficial it is. Whereas as an owner operator, you want your stuff maintained, man,
Right.
because it's you're responsible for that.
And this is
Company
what the
guys,
schedule. Right,
if
right.
the if the company guys their truck breaks, they just get another truck.
And this is what the schedule looked like in one of my older, lease trucks. This is definitely several years old. I'm sure it looks a little different now, but this is what I was expected to do by contract every 15,000 miles, every 30,000, every 90, every 350, plus everything behind it, right? Plus
Mhm.
everything behind it, schedule 1 and 2. This one says in everything in schedule 1. So, if you're not telling the shop, "I need this done," they're not gonna do it, guys. They're gonna think, "Oh, he's just getting a B service. Let's just knock it out."
Mhm.
And that's gonna cost you your contract over the long term or cost you your truck, you know? A lot of that stuff is actually, you know, maintenance that should be done according to the OEM, which could void a warranty even. So keep that in mind. What's up, Dennis? Good to see you, buddy. Glad you're here. Thanks for popping in, man. We dig that you're here, and we really do appreciate that when you guys come and spend some time with us. I know sometimes we go a little long and ramble, but I can't help it. I just like talking about this stuff. But yeah, if you guys have questions, by all means, throw them up. We will get to them if you have anything. If not, then we will continue doing our thing. We'll probably wrap this up here fairly shortly. Look, I can't even talk anymore. It's gone to that point. So for anyone who just came in and was like, "Well, where the heck were you guys at for?" So I totally screwed up and I broadcast this on. We actually did this twice now. I broadcast this on my personal Facebook page and nowhere else. It was amazing. I had the wrong date on it and everything. Like I don't even know how it happened. It was magic. Gremlins.
There you go.
Gremlins.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna stick with that. To hell with it. That's where we're going.
Okay.
So yeah, you got anything else, Jeff?
That's about it. I can tell you. So one of the reasons why I did the maintenance out here is because I waited too long on some of the maintenance, and the truck
Right.
just kind of got too rough to drive all the way back to Utah from the East Coast. When you're gonna if you're gonna do real maintenance like this, like you're actually gonna maintain your exhaust system, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. Try and find a shop close to home, guys, because
No doubt.
I've been in hotels for the last 2.5 weeks between getting my front end done, getting my overhead done, and now this. And it's a long time away from home when you're not working. I'm one of those
Right.
guys that I stay out until the wife says, "You better get your ass home."
Right.
Then I go home. But when I'm not working, good gosh,
And it'd
it's
just be better to
terrible.
spend that time at the house anyhow. I
Well,
mean,
that and it's I'm kind of a hotel snob, so I mean it's $80 a night for the hotels I stay in
right.
usually. So there's that cost on top of this maintenance.
Right.
So all told, we're looking between the front end work that I had and all that work I had done at the tire shop I talked about last week, and then this and all the hotels, and um, using Uber Eats to get food because I'm an idiot and I like to spend
Right.
money, I guess.
Right. Right.
Um, we're talking close to 10 grand, I bet. I'm a little scared to do the actual calculation on what I've spent in the last 3 weeks.
But he's gonna do it soon. Watch. We'll have that number soon.
Yeah, yeah, it's not fun being by yourself in a hotel, man. It's just not.
Right.
If it wasn't for the three young kids I still have at the house, I would have flown the wife out. you
Right.
know?
Right.
So
Hey,
do it at
Dennis.
home.
I see what you said there, Dennis. Dennis said that he and Jeff were talking about the about he said, "Hey, I appreciate it. Jeff, you and I were talking about trucks MRP to new trucks about a week and a half ago through Messenger. I'm waiting on information from Rebecca. Make sure you
Sweet.
follow up with Rebecca. Seriously, I know she's busy. I don't personally know Rebecca. I know that the job is a busy job, and it's one person doing the job that Rebecca does. So make sure you send her a reminder if you waited a longer than you think you should have. I mean,
Hmm.
be reasonable, but there's nothing wrong
Right.
with sending a little reminder. Hey, don't forget me. Remember, I'm looking for this information because that stuff's important.
Right. Yeah. So, a lot of guys also don't go out as far as I do either. I'm over here in Georgia from Utah. A lot of people stay closer to home anyway. So,
Right.
so
Heck,
yeah,
I don't leave the southeast, so there you go. Well, okay, that's not
yeah.
true. When I go OTR, I do, but everywhere below Canada, I-40 is the Canadian line. Just
Hmm.
just so everyone's clear here, I-40 is where Canada starts. Everything above that, Canada. Everything below, happy place. Just saying.
If only the people in the cities above the 40 were as nice as people in Canada.
Right. You've got something there. I once sat in a Flying J in Canada land. By the way, they don't like when you call it that. and I was sitting there on Canadian Thanksgiving at the lunch, counter, and I thought it would be clever to, poke and jab at the Canadian folks, and, I said, "I love being here in Canada because you Canadians are awesome people," or something along those lines. And do you know that place turned to crickets and every head turned at me, and I thought, "Boy, I'm about to get beat up." And then they all just kind of and went about their business. Imma tell you that, in the Canada that's below the actual Canada line, the real one, and my I-40, if I had offended a whole truck stop full of people the way that I did there, would have been a fight. Just saying, just saying.
Yeah.
I love you, Canada, or something. I don't know. Go
Eh.
Canada. Anyhow, I'm just gonna offend people. I need to stop talking. I apologize,
Yeah,
people.
it's his way.
Yeah, but anyhow, hey guys, if you guys don't have any questions, we'll give you a minute to type it up, throw it up there, or give us a hey, I got a question. And if we can get to it, we will. If not, by all means, throw a comment up on the YouTube channel. If you haven't already visited us on the YouTube channel, like Dennis is visiting us through the Facebook. No, no, I take it back. Dennis is on YouTube, it looks like. All right. Thanks, buddy. And
Sweet.
anyhow, but yeah, if you have a comment, by all means leave comments. If you haven't done so, please subscribe, guys. It really is going to help us do some bigger, better things in the long term because of the YouTube analytics and all that sort of stuff. We would really appreciate if you hit that subscribe, thumbs up all our videos. If you actually find use out of them, you dig them, you like what we're saying, give us a thumbs up, man. It changes the way things are served up to the rest of the world out there in YouTube land. And hey, look, if you don't like what we're doing, leave us a comment. Tell us what we're doing wrong. What would you like to see different? If there's something you want us to dip into, hey, shoot us a message, leave comments, all that stuff again. But hey, let us know. If you don't let us know, we don't know. We don't know, we don't know. That hurt my head.
Yes, and so if you guys on the DPF stuff, if you guys want answers that maybe we didn't answer during the video, just shoot me a message. Don't shoot Charlie a message because he doesn't know what he's talking about.
That guy,
Um,
that guy over there.
and I might know the answer already, but I'm willing to bet that Aaron or his wife would probably answer the phone if I called them.
Which
So
is awesome. Still great customer service. I look, God, I love that.
yeah, to give you an idea, he gave me more information than my little brain could handle. Um, and he was like, I don't know everything though. So, if you want to, I can arrange a phone conference with the regional president of the franchise. I'm like,
That's
oh,
great.
okay.
He's
Um,
like, I'm gonna get the president. Let's go.
yeah. So, yeah. Oh, one last thing about that I think I forgot because we did it during the practice run we did earlier,
Right,
but I
my
didn't
bad.
touch on it. Is the on that kind of expensive additive for the fuel. I told Aaron, I said that's going to be the tough thing to sell to our group because you know how those additives are. A lot of them are just snake oil
Right.
and don't really do anything other than take my money. And he said, well, look at it this way. We're offering a lifetime guarantee on that DPF if you use that product. And you
That's
have to show receipts that you've actually bought the product on a regular basis to get that lifetime guarantee. And he
that's
said,
pretty bold.
we just wouldn't offer that if we didn't think it was that necessary.
I mean, that
Because
that that
that's
that is a bold thing, seriously.
you get the 1 year warranty on the labor and parts just because, but that lifetime, hey, if something goes wrong, you can go to any DPF alternative shop, show them your receipts for max mileage to prove that you were actually putting it in, and if there's something wrong, they'll just fix it.
Nice.
Okay, that's a pretty bold
It really is,
um,
right?
thing right there.
It's nice to see people stand behind their work. It's hard to find these days in a lot of this stuff, especially in our industry and our repair mechanic type of stuff. It's a little unsettling sometimes how people won't stand behind their stuff. So,
Yeah.
you know. But all right, guys, we're gonna wrap this up. Call it a wrap. Sorry for being 30-ish minutes late. I do apologize. It was completely my bad. We were broadcasting at 4. I just want you to know that. Just not to any of you that, were I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We will do better next week, guys. Regular time is 4 p.m. on Tuesdays. Next week we think that we're going to have David Tillman in here to discuss some personal conveyance stuff. Going to be the biggest part of that topic, and how it pertains to owner operators. We're even going to talk about the company side of things. um we really want to just express and explain the actual law regulation, however you want to word that, and really dip into the proper use of it, guys, because there's some things happening that are not good in the background, and that we have people who are misusing personal conveyance and they're getting tagged for it. And apparently that tag is 21 points to Swift. Those
Hmm.
points add up quickly, and that's why we're going to start getting looked at if we don't get this stuff taken care of and start taking upon ourselves as professionals to make things better. Anyhow, we will see you next week. I want to thank everyone for being here. Again, sorry for being late. Thanks for taking time out of your afternoon and hanging out. Again, leave comments, subscribe, thumbs up, whatever. Oh, up. I should struggle with up, right? That's left and right that I have problems with. Anyhow, guys, thanks so much, and we'll see you next time here on Swift Contractors Corner.